What up, FIFA Tears? It's B-Rad from the FSB creators, and yes, Rulebreakers is upon us. And actually, the team, I've got to admit, some of the cards look pretty good for the way that FIFA 23 has formed this year, where the meta is now lengthy. What a lovely word, hey? But we'll get into that in a second. I need to introduce, obviously, my fellow FSB creators at this time, and that is Mersgoth and LAJS. How you doing, guys?
Not too bad. I thought you were going to completely ignore the introduction now. I thought you was getting straight into the topics then. I was like, whoa. You know,
just
like...
Just letting the listeners know what's coming, mate. Just letting them know what's coming.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Good. You would obviously have noticed my absence as well as Luke from last week. Luke had previous engagements and I had kidney stones. That was very unpleasant. But we are now back as a three and ready for today's episode. And as I just mentioned, we are starting off with the Rulebreakers promo. So if you guys listen to this, I mean, I imagine most of you will be, but if you're not familiar with Rulebreakers, essentially what it is they steal stats off the highest stat usually, or the most sort of prolific stat on the card, and they distribute a lot more stats amongst the rest of them. So if we take, for instance, the main player in the promo, which is Cristiano Ronaldo, they took 2 off his shooting to distribute loads of stats elsewhere onto his pace, passing, dribbling, defense, and physical. And that has tended to have been the way it works. First of all, before we get into the team, have you guys packed a Rulebreakers yet?
None.
No. I mean, I've not seen a lot of people pack any, and if I have, it seems to be Frankowski. He seems to be the one, like the I don't know, trying to think of a play. The Onana from like when I used to play a couple of years ago and always get Onana. But yeah, there's quite a few players we'll get through to. We won't spend too much time on them. You guys can obviously check them out over on FUTBin or any of your other platforms, or just concept them in, obviously, on your FIFA 23 game. But as we said, leading and marquee player in Cristiano Ronaldo. The card with the little bit of pace upgrade looks pretty damn good. I think he was going for about 2.2 million, was it?
He was extinct at 2 for a period of time. And then, obviously, normally what happens when they go from unextinct, they go up a little bit, and then suddenly the market gets flooded, and then it goes down. So
yeah. So he's now 1.6, actually, as it stands. But I did see him the other day at 2.2 million. I mean, he sort of, I've seen him as normal card kind of fits the criteria quite well. This is probably just that a little bit more juiced, I imagine. I'd like to see what he's like in a draft and get a chance of using him, because I think that's the only chance I've got. He is controlled, but I'm sure you can make him lengthy. I imagine you can make him lengthy.
Yes, with the Architect, the only chem style that can make him lengthy. As on FUTBin now, when you click on it, it'll show you the chem styles that will make
it does.
A player
Yeah, it's
lengthy,
really handy.
So,
yeah,
yes,
good feature. But there are some, what I would think, are hidden gems in here. Starting off with a man that mostly, until he had like a couple of insane cards, like showdown type cards of things, is Gerard Piqué. 222,000 coins. Centre back with 83 pace, 88 defending, 87 physical. He's 6'4", and he is naturally a lengthy man. Not only that, but obviously a lot of people will be able to link this up to their their Rafinhas, if they've managed to pack them. And obviously Lewandowski is quite a popular card this year. I've come up against him a few times. He is very good this year. So he looks to be sort of my pick as one of my favourites, along with looking at the Calvin Phillips card as your generally all-round sort of amazing midfielder. Any of these cards that you particularly sort of... I mean, obviously, if you say the one you want to pack the most is going to be Ronaldo, but any of these that you think are like I say, like a hidden gem, like the ones that you'd like to try out, or ones that fit in your teams, obviously chemistry is a bit different this year.
Well, there's one I have tried out, and he is definitely an underrated one.
Go for it.
So that is Chicharito Hernandez, who I don't believe saw that. He came out in the mini release on Sunday, and this is about to shock you, Brad. I want you to brace yourself. Chicharito Hernandez can be lengthy.
He can.
He has the ability to, because they downgraded his dribbling, he now can be a lengthy boy, which feels so weird to say, considering Hernandez is meant to be the tiny little player that runs about. To have the big, strong running build is weird.
Yeah.
But I can confirm I did enjoy using him this weekend league. So, it's an odd one.
Yeah, it's interesting. That puts +8 on his passing and +9 on his physical. That makes his jump in 97, his strength 90.
That
is actually pretty good. Short passing of 91 as well. I mean, passing, if anybody's played this year's FIFA, is so key. That looks like a good card. And not only that, it's interesting that they've got Herrera, and also if you use Hero Ocampos, I think they're on like two chem then.
Yep, and then you just need a MLS manager. MLS manager, and you're there. So
that's pretty good.
I actually scored a corner. I scored from a corner with Hernandez since he took where my striker would be. He was standing in the ideal position, and he got a flick on header. So just as I was criticising, like, the one downside to this card is he's taking the place of my striker at corners, and then he scored from a corner. So he shut me up real quick.
My question for you would be medium low. Is it noticeable?
Somewhat, but you can just start doing the 1-2 pass to sort of create runs, naturally put getting behind, stay central, stuff like that on him, and that'll fix that fairly quickly.
What about you, Mers? Any hidden gems here for you?
I mean, the thing about Buto being at 10k, for instance, is he can basically play out a multitude of positions on that right-hand side. So you can play right wing, right mid, right wing back. So if you somebody who plays that like 5 at the back formation, he could be an option there. And at 10k, but the other one that I like the look of, which is obviously partially being mentioned, is Herrera, because of the pure fact that he is a well-balanced central midfielder. So if you like that box-to-box-esque player that you need, either as a CDM, getting forwards, or if you're running 4-4-2 or something like that, good sort of player for that sort of situation. I like the look of Jesus Navas as well, because of the pure fact that he's been given a physicality boost. Because I think with the defenders, I feel like at the moment you kind of need to have some strength, especially since a lot of players are using the likes of like Nunez, Haaland and stuff. So you kind of need to have that little bit extra physicality to deal with those kind of players, because they can be a little bit aggressive.
I think that's where like in similar to last year a little bit, where we talked about high defensive players were actually really good last year. I think that kind of has continued, but what they've done is they've evened it out in the attacking aspect as well, so that like your players last year, like at the start of the game, like a Hummels was usable because he was good. Now this year, like Lewandowski, Harry Kane, those players are usable, whereas before they've just been fodder. And it's nice. I actually really like the dynamic. Me personally, in my actual starting team, I don't have that in my front two. I have Gabriel Jesus and Werner, which are literally the opposite of the meta of the current game. But I am looking at some potential players that would fit into that role, and I will get on to some of those in a little while because they are part of our topics. But I think they all look really good. Has there been one come out tonight? I saw we had the David Alaba SBC. That card I've heard is amazing.
It's just pricey, sadly.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? 4 SBCs. You get a choice of one of two. I think one's higher physical, one's higher defense. But you got an 87 rated squad with a guaranteed 88 plus player, an 86 with a team of the week, an 85 with a team of the week, and then an 84 with an 86 plus player in as well. So, yeah, it's an expensive SBC, although I suppose, I mean, he's not end game, but he's long game, I would say, by the looks of him. The only thing with this year, and then the way chemistry has changed, is it kind of forces you to have Real Madrid players in. Now, that was probably mostly the case last year, or certainly you'd have to box him in with La Liga players and then hybrid away from that. But the way it is this year, you kind of have to have players from the team if you want to build a hybrid, or a full La Liga team. It's just how the chemistry is. I still like it, but it's just with an Austrian from La Liga, it's a little bit difficult to do anything other than put Real Madrid players in. But I think I've seen a lot of people got like untradeable Vinny Juniors at the start, although I've heard not very good things about him. And a lot of people will probably play Benzema this year because he again is looking more usable. The other one, we've got Romain Favre. He's a right mid that can play cam and right wing from Olympique Lyon, French player. It looks like he's got nice all-rounded stats, I would say. What is his weak foot and skill moves? 4-star skill moves, 3-star weak foot is not... I mean, for me, this year, skill moves, I've used them less than I did last year, but so weak foot to me is probably more important than it was last year. He has got the outside of the foot shot trait. We know that that's currently a broken meta in the game. He looks okay. And then the other one's Alex Telles. Guy usually gets a special card every FIFA. They've given it to him nice and early. 86 and 84 rated squads. It's a moment's SBC, but it has come under like the Rulebreakers Promo. Again, I think this card looks pretty nice actually. It looks very usable indeed. 88 pace, 80 shooting, 86 passing, 82 dribbling, 82 defending, 78. I mean, he's 2 stats away from being a Hullet club, but he can only play left back or left wing back to not be able to make use of his abilities maybe in a CDM or CM role.
I mean, those sort of cards though, those Hullet gang sort of cards normally seem to come from fullbacks.
Yeah.
Down the years. I mean, when I was talking about favourite cards, I was talking about the likes of Lyon, who was Hullet gang. I was very close to if it was shooting was low, I don't know. But Dario Serna, those ones, they were always the ones that got the Hullet gang-esque cards, either there or the centre mids. So
and like the recent years, like Acuna, like
mid,
not the craziest like in price, in pace, but had like really good all-rounded stats. But yeah, that's how it is in Rulebreakers for squad building challenges. I think we've got some in the objectives as well. There is the Rulebreakers Breakout there, which is an online mode for you to be able to get an 83 plus rare gold player pack. I imagine that's probably handy to you to do given an SBC that has come out tonight, which we will get onto as well. And then the SBC Paulinho that we mentioned. So left mid card, can't play anywhere else. So it's the only slight downside to him. He's medium, but he's got nice pace, nice shooting, alright passing and alright physical. Looks like not a bad card when all you got to do is grind a little bit of online friendlies. What is it? You can get it done in 7 matches if you get all the objectives done. So not too bad at all, not too bad. But let's move on to the next part that I was going to talk about, which is the foundations, which has also been added in this year. Now, this is, to me, I did a test squad before I joined in the podcast chat tonight, because I was a little bit worried when I first saw the cards, given the way chemistry now works, that you wouldn't be able to get them on full chem as individual, like, cards. So say all the squad foundations in one team wouldn't get full chemistry. However, with an Eredivisie manager, the Eredivisie ones do, and with the Liga Portugal ones, I think they all do apart from Sonora, because he's United States from a different team than all the others. But the rest do, and also, and just not mention as well, in the season objectives, there are players to assist with getting that as well. And I think when I was talking about my potential upgrades to my team, Brobby and Vindal are 2 that I am looking at. So I currently have the storyline Eredivisie player, and he is currently playing centre-back for me. And I have Gakpo, so I would put Vindal and Brobby in, and that would probably be a nice sort of upgrade to my team. I've got Raum at left back at the moment, and I'd probably put Brobby in for Gabby Jesus, I would imagine, because Werner's doing really well for me. But have you completed any of these objectives yet? Obviously, we've got quite a while to do the foundations ones. They are in the milestones.
I have done part of it. I'm trying to do the Eredivisie one, so I've only unlocked the one player, which is the right back for the set. And then obviously after I've done that, then I'll probably try and get the striker. The one thing that I'm probably a little bit disappointed by is the fact that some of these positions for both of the sets are the same position. So like you got right back in both of them, you got the striker in both of them. I feel like they've missed an opportunity to maybe try and make it so that you could try and put them both in a team together at the same time, just to have something a little bit fun and different. But I think it comes back down to this sort of situation that I know Luke had an annoyance with when it came to like the objective cards, when it's just the same sort of positions being over and over again. Like they're not using their imagination enough for these kind of cards, I feel.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like seeing that there's no centre back is not ideal, I suppose, when you want to try and maybe build these into a hybrid. However, I am just going to check because it says that the American guy can only play cam in the squad foundations, but I know he can play centre mid because I looked at him in an actual squad concept and it says preferred position, alternative centre mid. So unfortunately, I would urge you guys listening, go and have a look at Footbin, go and have a look at them in concepts, because some of these play in different positions and they don't show up in the squad foundations. But Bazoa for AZ Alkmaar does play centre back.
He previously had a centre back card, I think, probably last FIFA or the FIFA before.
Yeah,
he's sort of been all over the place. He used to have lovely special cards and was a great pickup in career mode. Even he's been known down the years. So
and that right back that you're talking about, 85 pace, can play centre back as well. So yes, they haven't given them in a sense, but you can just use the player position changes, and they do have alternate positions to make a half and half team by the looks of things. My only thing here was with the Eredivisie. I looked, and I know I just mentioned it's who I'm going to get, but it is for chemistry reasons. Getting Brobby, I looked at the stats, and then I looked at the Pedro Marquez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Almost fairly carbon copy statistics. So 5'11". He's got 88 pace as opposed to Brobby's 87 pace. He's got more shooting. I think the only thing is maybe that Brobby's a bit more physical. He's got 87 and this guy's got 82, but he's got much more dribbling. And unlike Brobby, he is high medium, whereas I think Brobby's medium low. So it's kind of annoying that they've got a storyline card in there where actually you've got and this guy's 4-star and Brobby's not. Where like this card is better than the one in the storyline, and I don't know. I just don't like when there's a better version that you can do, and then you get to level 30 and it's like, well, I don't really want that because I've got this guy.
So do you rather them put it on hold until after level 30, as soon as a week passed that level 30 is no longer attainable, them to release this card? Is that what you wanted?
No, what I'd maybe want is them to have done, if they were going to go Liga NOS and Eredivisie in the season progress, maybe wait and do a different league first. Maybe do like MLS and Turkish league first, and then go into Liga NOS and Eredivisie, because we see Liga NOS and Eredivisie a lot, don't we? In the season progresses, that's what there always seems to be the main ones there. But I just think I'd rather see it the other way around so that it doesn't hinder your choice or affect your choice on the season card, because it is going to change mine.
Well, the problem is you say about like MOS, but then the season rewards also tend to have at least one MLS player, I would say.
Oh yeah, that was just an example. I didn't see as well that there is Almada as the cam. But say for instance, like they did Turkish League and they did Belgium League now or something like that. So something that isn't currently a level 30 reward, just so that you kind of can take the players without being influenced by what is going on with the seasons, or maybe even look at the season players and look to hybrid away with normal cards like SBC cards or promo cards or whatever, whereas actually like doing the objectives there and identifying that guy actually looks better than Brobby would probably influence my decision to take Brobby.
So what you're saying is you want less options.
I want different options rather than less. I would say different options rather than looking at a card thinking, well, I'm not going to take that because this one's better and this is 20 games as opposed to this being level 30, which, don't get me wrong, at the start of the game, most people are going to get to level 30 because it's the longest run for a season that we have at the start of the game. But yeah, after that, I don't know.
I mean, what I would say is, would an alternative suggestion be for the squad foundations, rather going for, say, like the Liga, the Eredivisie and stuff like they normally do, is maybe branch out to leagues that they don't tend to look up.
Yeah.
Maybe things like League One or League Two or something like that. Secondary Spanish league. Those kind of sort of situations where you could have potentially nations that could link to
hybrid,
like hybrid wise, and then you still got like obviously the ability to have enough players from that, because obviously squad foundations could make enough for potentially enough players to be on chem if you use in a hybrid type situation.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. I think they should, introduce some more niche leagues in this sort of thing, because I think we're at the risk of now seeing, I think, almost like a direct repeat of last year, aren't we? The only thing is, I don't know whether they're going to obviously release SBCs for the foundations. That's what they did do last year. We could get Neres and Appenda was a beast.
That's what they've done. They've done that except their promo cards. It's what the PSV Brazilian guy is.
Oh, right, okay. So they're fitting with the promo as opposed to being okay.
Yeah, that's why everyone had a freak out and went, "Oh my god, EA have screwed up. They've released these guys for 100 days and they're this promo related." And they're like, "No, look, here's their foundation players. They just might get boosted whilst they're still in foundations."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I suppose Benfica, if they do well, João Mario will get upgraded. I have done the other guy, but only because I had an untradeable duplicates that I had to put in. And he's from PSV, which is the same as Gakpo. But yeah, I haven't really looked at the card yet. I would like to try it out and see what he's like. But yeah, that's enough on that. Let us know your thoughts on the Foundations players, whether you're happy with you'd like us, like to see maybe, or me and Mers, like to see different leagues or things. One of the other things, as we talk about SBCs, is the Bundesliga Player of the Month that's come out. So that is won by Fullkrug. I haven't personally come up against this guy or seen him in the game. He looks average, doesn't he? Yeah, he looks lengthy, but he on the face of it, he looks average. However, as Mers just said, he probably fits the lengthy meta. Is there a review coming of this guy, Luke?
I mean, there could be. It's a bit late, but I mean, there still could be, I guess. You could just slap a hunter on him instead of anything to actually boost him to lengthy, which is a positive. So same breath as Mario Gomez, who I enjoy using. Mario Gomez naturally lengthy, so I can just chuck a hunter on him and get the 83 pace up even more, so he's even more of a monster.
Yeah.
So there's that. He's got potential as Fullkrug. If he gets maybe another card, he's basically, and I'm gonna say it, he reminds me of my Andre Silva with that kind of a pace, and I get him to be lengthy. He looks similar in that regard.
Yeah.
So it looks like a card I'd get on with, and it's 4-star. So
yeah, that is a massive positive, and also he's tall, isn't he? So like in terms of like the target man and the kind of crossing and headering side of things, he's certainly good for that. Hunter gives him what shows on Footbin 81 pace, 92 shooting. So he looks like with a hunter, he would be pretty good. He'll still be lengthy, and he's cheap. At the end of the day, he's 20k.
Also, EA updated his skill moves. It was previously 3-star, so they did actually give him a skill move boost to 4-star.
His gold card is 3-star, is it?
Yeah, his 81 inform's got 3-star skills, so...
Yeah, 3-star skills, 4-star. Yeah, so he has been given a nice upgrade. I look forward to seeing that in some of the Player of the Months coming up. while we talk about SBCs, we will just touch on one SBC that came out that EA decided to have a little fun with. It was the dynamic duos for Leeds. Now, am I right in thinking they messed this up twice?
I'm not 100% sure. I just know of the initial mess up that they did.
Yeah, so initially, I believe, didn't Harrison show on both cards?
No. It was Rodrigo was on Harrison's card, and Harrison was on Rodrigo's card, basically, a dynamic image, which, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't remember Rodrigo looking like this. I swear that looks like Harrison. And I looked at Harrison's card, I was like, oh, great. Yeah, well done, EA.
Yeah, just another thing to add to their list of errors. So what I think may have happened, because I'm sure I saw that someone had tweeted a picture saying that, and now they're both Harrison. So I wonder if it was like mid-live update, someone went onto there and saw that Harrison was Harrison, but Rodrigo was also Harrison. So yeah, it may well have been while they were in the process of changing the live image, but as Mo said, Harrison had Rodrigo's dynamic image and Rodrigo had Harrison's dynamic image. These cards look okay. I personally haven't done them and don't plan to do them, but they are only 83 rated for Harrison with an 85 plus, and it's 84 rated with an 86 and 85 for Rodrigo. And then let's not forget, you get a premium gold pack afterwards as well. So you never know, you could pack yourself a Rulebreakers Ronaldo if you do it during this promo, but it's pretty unlikely, I would say.
Yeah, 7.5k packs aren't that powerful.
Is that reference to something? Have you packed something good in there?
No, it's just saying that 7.5k packs are 7.5k packs.
I thought you were going to say they're not very good, but
that's where my Ronaldo came from. But
there we go. Of course, yeah. I was waiting. I knew someone had to. We've got a three-man chance of packing something decent in a 7.5k.
No, mine just come from FUT Champs rewards. That's where I get my good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Still yet to pack anything as always. We'll then go into what has happened this evening. So, the new SBCs for tonight. We'll start off with one that will lead into the other because it may well help you to complete. Although, didn't we do some of these, Luke, and they weren't very good?
Oh, we don't talk about the 78 upgrades. We don't talk about them. They ruined
78
my day.
plus upgrade. I saw someone tweet out and was a little bit excited that tonight was going to be the first night we get player picks. And I came on to see the 78 upgrade pack. I did about 11 of these last time when we were on, and I think I got 184, and the rest were not even boards, I don't think. And Luke did a substantial amount more and didn't.
I did about 100 and got 2 walkouts and 2 informs. Same informs, same walkouts. What are the chances? What are the chances of the same inform for Fana and the same, I can't even remember, it was like an ace. Who was it?
Probably Cruz, was it?
No, it wasn't Cruz. It wasn't that good.
Brozovic?
Yeah, Brozovic. That was it. That was it.
Yeah.
86 rated Brozovic.
Okay.
2 of them each.
Did you do many of these, Mers, and did you have any better luck?
I don't really want to touch it that much, to be fair. As soon as I saw it was a 78 plus, I was like, yeah, no thanks. I think I'll hold off. I'll hold off sending too much in because you got to get something that makes it worthwhile. And like hearing I've done over 100, I get 2 informs and 2 walkouts, and you're thinking, okay, what is that if you put in coins? What is that in terms of a deficit versus the coin? The cost of the SBC, that sounds like a big loss. So yeah, it just doesn't really sound like much of a want to do. I just want the player picks, but I know player picks is probably, I would say, a month away still.
Yeah, maybe.
So
I mean, the thing is, so if you bought, right, so that is 600 players to complete 100 of these upgrades. If you got them at 400 coins each, that is 240,000 coins. Mm-hmm. Right, so it's nearly $250,000. Luke knows. It sounded like he was in pain. Mm. And so then you're not getting the walkouts and things to match that 240k. And right now, people are going to be considering putting them into what has now come out this evening, a base icon 86 max overall. Now, I'm not so bothered about the 86 max because we are still only a few weeks into FIFA. Like, we shouldn't be given just base icon upgrade right now, so anyone could pack base R9. But this does seriously limit your players, and also I've seen like the funny what the sort of meme thing of what you hope for and what you'll get, and I think it was like what you hope for is 86 Vieira, what you'll get is 85 Litmanen. It doesn't look to me like an SBC that I would want to do. Content creators are going to do these, right? We know that. That's going to be a given. They'll do that. They'll do videos on this. We understand that. But personally, I would not be recommending this to viewers. What about you guys?
See, the thing is, yeah, I mean, personally, with the how the fact that they automatically will be on max chem, I think it might be worth the gamble, especially at this stage of FIFA. They're not quite as good as heroes for helping for chem and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you can get a good nation, I guess it's probably not so bad. And I'm sure there's probably people that have got some fodder sat out there at the moment that want to do an icon SBC. Because let's face it, we normally have to wait until about Black Friday before we see an icon SBC. So the fact that we've been given one so early is quite a nice little like positive, I guess. So I personally would say take it for 130k.
Yeah, what do you think, Luke?
Yeah, no, I'm inclined to agree. You probably got about an even ratio of things that are either exciting or that you are worth more than the SBC than there are less. You're probably about even, because we've not even factored in Rooney, Roberto Carlos and others still being in that price range. So yeah, I think you got a reasonable set of cards, and even then there's some cards that look like they'd be good anyway, at least enjoyable to use. So who knows? I'll be doing one for sure though.
Yeah.
I've already opened mine.
Have you?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell us who you got, or?
Yeah, unfortunately I got fodder. I would have happily have taken a Robert Perez. Instead, I've got to have a fodder Steven Gerrard card that I've got to put into an SBC at some point.
That's actually decent value as well. I'm pretty certain that's like
200k, but it's an Arsenal past and present, and he never played for Arsenal, so
that's true. That's true.
I was hunting for 1 of 7.
And he's overrated, isn't he, Mers? Anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely overrated. Yeah,
forgot that.
Bad manager, bad football player.
Yeah. There was a title update for FIFA 23. I don't think. I mean, there wasn't to me many massive in-game changes. I think they did the change to chipped penalty shot things, standard tackles, winning the ball back rather than you doing a standing tackle and it just going off, like doing a standing tackle, the ball rolling off and still ending up in the possession of the other team. They increased the velocity for ground passes. They changed the penalty kick, so if you hit the ring red on a penalty kick, you were most likely to miss the goal entirely, although I'd seen that most people seem to do that anyway. But yeah, not a lot of other things. They said that in some cases goalkeepers sometimes reacted too quickly to shots and things. They've tweaked some of them. I haven't personally noticed too much change in the gameplay yet, and I actually don't think too much needs to change. But then I haven't actually played Champs. Let's talk about that. Let's finish off with Champs. You guys have played Champs?
I think Mers would want to really not talk about this.
Yeah, I've played Champs, and I think, to be fair, Luke's heard this rumor from from a streamer about like the matchmaking within Champs, and I've got to say, it did not feel like it was getting easier when I was losing on losing streak and stuff like that. It felt like every game had to be a proper sweat fest, and in one of my qualifying on my main account, so this is with a better team, I went 0-7.
Wow.
I went 9-1. It should have been 10-0, but I choked in the last minute. 120th.
Okay.
And then in Champs itself, the first weekend I went 7-13. This weekend on my Arsenal past and present, I went 6-14, but it was 6-13 because you can't really go up a tier and rewards. So I gave away the last game, and for half of my 6 wins were gifted to me as well. So I'm thankful for that. But it just kind of emphasised on how it felt for me. And to be fair, I go on Reddit now a little bit, and some of the comments and posts on there seems to be saying the same thing. Like, people are finding it like a lot harder than say like last year. And also, somebody said they played the same person 3 times in a row in FUT Champs.
Okay.
And another person, and then he played another person 2 times in a row, which makes it sound like matchmaking's a little bit dodgy at the moment.
A little bit off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you had an almost opposite experience, Luke, by the sounds of it.
So, in terms of qualifying, yes. The main one went about the same as last time. I went and finished about rank 5. I feel I can push on, but I'm just not at the moment. I'm really good in qualification, though. 8-2 and 9-1 the last week.
Nice.
So, qualification is great, and everything else is about the same as usual.
Well, guys, let us know your comments down below, how you found Champs the last couple of weekends, what you got on your rewards, because I saw a lot of people getting stinky rewards, considering it was a pretty good team of the week.
I got Red Donnarumma.
Oh, that's not so bad. I didn't even see him pop up in most of the rewards, to be fair. I think the best I saw in a lot of most rewards were coming up was like Correa and Muriel, yeah. I mean, rating-wise, Mason Mount I saw come up a few times, but a lot of people are saying they don't think he's that good in game this year. But yeah,
well,
I mean,
we've mentioned all 3 of mine: Mason Mount, Muriel, and Donnarumma. So I had a great weekend league in terms of rewards.
Yeah, that's not bad, is it? That's not bad. I know that my brother got what did he say? I think he got his 11. I think he got 11 and 4. I think he said, and his first pick, the highest, was 81 rated, which was disappointing, I suppose.
You got to get lesser amount of wins. I mean, my 6 got me Mason Mount and Martinelli, but to be fair, if any Arsenal past and present player comes up, I'm automatically taking them anyway. But I saw someone who got 2 wins and got themselves a red pick, Cancelo and Donnarumma.
Was this Jordan?
J. Coyle, yes.
Yes, I did see that. That was disgusting. And yeah, likewise, another one of my friends only managed to get 6 wins. He didn't get to play all his games, but only managed to get 6 wins, and he got Rafael Leao. So yeah, it does seem like the rewards aren't quite matching the thing. And this is one of those things that we say every year. I think when you get 20-0, I saw Haber open up a 20-0 rewards, and they were just terrible. I feel like they need to add something in where maybe they get a special card player pick or something. I don't know, like a promo player pick or something. It needs to be able to be rewarded for putting in that kind of grind. But step away from FIFA 23 and move on to the real world of football. So the game's going to touch on more. So we'll leave we'll start with your team, Mers, because I think we'll leave the Liverpool Man City till last. So Leeds versus Arsenal. Now, if there was ever a game where I would say a team is lucky to come away with 3 points, it would be this one for me so far this season. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely feel like maybe Leeds could have easily have got a draw with us. They certainly had good fair share of opportunities. Obviously, they also had a penalty.
Yeah.
But that obviously the penalty was missed, so you make do with what happens in that sort of situation. But I'd also say in some ways last week, in some ways partially, you could say we were a bit lucky as well to get 3 points, because obviously some of the decisions in that particular match. But you got to take it, and you got to take the 3 points, especially if we want to be title contenders. I'm not marking us as that at the moment, even though we are now 4 points in the lead in the table. But I just don't want to say that at the moment, because Arsenal are Arsenal. They start the season off well and then normally finish badly, or they start the season badly and finish the season good. So there's going to be a blip. there's going to be a blip. It's just a question of when it's going to happen.
Which, I mean, there's something like we touched on in the live Q&A thing. And guys, 9 o'clock on a Monday night when we record the podcast, we are on Twitch for some questions. We used to do Twitter. You can follow us at FSB Creators over on Twitter and basically take part in a live podcast and where we just answer your questions, and you can join our Discord as well. For those on YouTube, that is down in the description, and get some questions in to us and we'll answer them on there. But it was something that we spoke about with an Arsenal fan on there, wasn't it? About not looking forward to the fact that you're leading the league at the moment because you're kind of still always waiting for that time to mess up. And even now, 4 points clear, you're saying like you don't want to get ahead of yourselves. I do feel like I can't help but feel like that is still sad, that you're waiting for the mess up rather than fully embracing the fact that you're like, no, we're going to win the league now, you know.
Yeah, but that's because at the end of the day, like an injury could happen as well. Like, I've already said this, like if an injury happened to Thomas Partey, Gabby Jesus, Saliba, maybe even potentially Aaron Ramsdale as well, could be a critical one. Because then I don't think the backup goalkeeper is quite on that level, like for distribution for the team and the way that we play. So yeah, I think it's just, and also it's still early doors as well. So anything can happen.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that, and like we're nowhere near sort of not even in the second half of the year for the league, and I do understand why people wouldn't want to think that they're going to win the league now, but certainly 4 points clear, knowing that you can have a little bit of a blip and it still leaves you at the top, is a nice position to be in. We'll talk about the game. So, we'll talk about Bamford first of all. So, I mean, the one thing they touched on, and I can only agree by what happened in the game, is he appears to be lacking some confidence at the moment, and has a penalty, and you know, someone of I'd say his caliber, but someone like him, who I always think he's very sure of himself, usually rates himself very highly, and would be very confident in taking that penalty, has actually missed the target. The one thing that you definitely don't do when you're taking a penalty, and that gets them back in the game. He then is at the subject of some controversy, although it's not that controversial, but it did go to VAR in the fact that he has a coming together with Saliba, or is it Gabriel? No,
Gabriel.
And he's sort of tugging away at Gabriel at the back. They both go down. Gabriel then sticks his studs out. Initially gets a red card, then it goes to VAR and it's rescinded, and it's actually turned around to be a foul on Gabriel, which, if you look at it, is the right decision. The fact that Gabriel lashes out is then null and void because it's no longer part of the play. The play ended earlier with the foul, so he gets away with showing him studs and that sort of thing. So, what do you think about those combination of incidents and Patrick Bamford? Do you think he's lacking a bit of confidence at the moment?
I mean, he's missed a lot of game time in the last year or so probably wouldn't be that surprising, to be fair.
Yeah, and the challenge. Did you fully agree?
I agree. I haven't watched the match, but I've seen the highlights. From what you see, yeah. At the end of the day, if Bamford hadn't initiated the foul, then yeah, Gabriel was in the wrong, and that is again a situation that like makes me a bit nervous, because last season we were a bit of a problematic team when it came to getting red cards, with the likes of Xhaka and Gabriel being pretty much the main two contenders for getting red cards. And again, we haven't really had one yet, and I'm just like, ooh, when is it going to come? When are we going to be playing with like 10 men sort of situation? Because that's another game that you could potentially lose 3 points.
Well, and then also get himself banned, I suppose, for future games. So, yeah, like imagine it coming against the likes of a Liverpool or Man City, and then also being banned for, another fixture is pretty bad, isn't it? But it showed a little bit of like what it shows is to other teams that you can get under his skin a little bit, and he's gonna do something silly, which I always think is pretty telling. As like I said about Nunes before with the headbutt, like that teams now know that they're going to be able to wind him up and get to him, and so that will be something they target.
So yeah, my opinion on that is different to your guys. You say, Brad, that because play got stopped and they ignored what happened afterwards, he still got a yellow card for it. So they didn't completely go, oh well, he's kicked out afterwards, so therefore it was a foul beforehand, so what happened afterwards doesn't matter. No, they still gave him a yellow card for it. They just downgraded it. So It's still relevant that he kicked out, and still probably should be a red card.
See, I thought they couldn't do that.
No, he's given him a yellow. He waved it off. He took the red back out, did the little wave no symbol, got a yellow out, and gave it to him instead. So I think he's got very lucky there. I personally think the decision should have stood, but that's football, and Arsenal get their first bit of luck of the season, you should say.
I personally would say it is a yellow. It's definitely a reaction to it, but it's just waving his legs about. Reaction. It's not proper like slide tackles, studs up, going to injure the player kind of situation.
Yeah, but stud showing is a red, isn't it?
You could debate that in the Villa game, actually, if we want to go into that again, because there was a stud showing sort of a moment there. It was along the ground still, but the way Chilwell's gone in and caught Ramsey, he's caught him with his stud showing. But everything was touching the ground. He was sliding along the ground, but studs were up and caught him on the ankle. So you can make the argument that if that's the case, then should he be on the pitch? There is an argument to be made.
So does it feel like again that there's this greyness again?
Of course, it's always typical greyness. There's always going to be.
Yeah. That's a shame. But like we say, Arsenal came away with the 3 points, and they obviously stay top of the league. We'll move on to the Liverpool-Man City game. Obviously a massive game for the weekend. There's a lot of talk obviously about Haaland. Is he going to be able to continue his goal scoring record? Is Salah going to steal the show? Who's going to be playing alongside them? So this, until the goal, was up there as one of the best 0-0s I've seen. It was end to end. There were a lot of chances, mostly that fell to City in the first half, and it was a shame that it was always like the little touch too far, or the ball was a little bit too this, or a ball was a little bit too that. Especially like there was a one where it was chipped in to Haaland for a header, and it took him so wide by the time that he played the ball that he ended up just heading it straight to Alisson. So they definitely had their chances. No one could seem to convert it in the first half. But then we had what I can only say is a pure moment of brilliance from Salah as a result of a counter-attack from Alisson. So he picks out Salah, who's got, I think it's Cancelo. He's got Cancelo on him, and the ball goes out from Alisson, lands at Salah's feet, and he turns and Cancelo inside out, turns him, lands at his feet, turns him with the ball, ends up one-on-one with Ederson. Personally, in my opinion, I don't know how Ederson doesn't realise that Mo Salah's going to switch onto his left foot, but he doesn't save it, and Salah slots it away and ends up 1-0, and that is all she wrote for that game. First of all, did either of you see it?
Yeah, I'm shocked your criticisms at Ederson there and not Cancelo for diving in. That whole attack probably doesn't happen if Cancelo just sits off 2 yards, because he's still got to be beaten, and then by the time that Salah gets past him, rather than trying to compete for the ball and he just completely misses it, then instead he's got support from his defenders. Salah's got to get past him. He just
I see what you're saying.
Made it way too easy. The criticism is on Cancelo diving in.
Yeah,
that's where the criticism is based, not on Ederson not knowing Salah's cutting in.
Yeah, I agree. I think like you can definitely like be an argument for both. I think, yeah, Cancelo's gone in too rash to be able to let Salah turn him like that, and then once Salah's away, he's gone. But likewise, when it's then 1-on-1, I still think Ederson must know he's going to hit this with his left foot, so it's going to go to my right, and he doesn't close down that side enough. But it's, you know, it's still a great ball from Alisson, so accurate, and a great take from Salah. But yes, a one momentary defensive error, and then you know, like I say, maybe a little bit of a lack of thought from the goalie of that, what that player does leads to that goal.
Arguably, he can shoot across the goalkeeper with his left foot as well. He doesn't just have to shoot to that side of him. He can shoot across the goalkeeper.
He could, but in a one-on-one,
arguably more I'd see people do, rather than trying to just curl it to the side of the keeper, try and hit it across the goalkeeper. That's what most people would do. So.
I feel like one-on-one in that situation with that caliber of game, I feel like he's always going to want to try and go for the safe, which is the side foot into the net.
I mean, hey, I'm just talking as a person who's played in goal for most of his life. Yeah. So who am I to know what the hell's going on there? Like, yeah, I don't know anything.
I would argue that Sunday League is probably different to this, but yeah. Did you watch the game, Mers?
No, I listened to audio commentary for about the last 10 minutes or so because I was busy, so I didn't have time to watch it. Plus, my TV's broken anyway, so can't really watch anything with my Virgin box. Although what I would say is the audio commentary was making Núñez sound like an absolute pillock again. Sounded like he had an opportunity to give it to Salah to make it 2-0 when he was selfish.
Oh, it was like the most clear-cut pass you could ever like. So it was. He actually had two players ahead of him. I can't remember who that was.
I think was the other one.
Yeah, but basically it was one defender. It was a 3-on-1, and Núñez has just got to play Salah in, and it's the most simple of passes. But
ironically, actually, I think there was something else with Salah doing the exact same thing that people sort of glossed over. The one where Ederson's got that tiny little touch on it. He just needs to square that to Jota.
He does,
was
to
there
be fair.
The whole time.
Yeah, he does. It's not to say that Salah hasn't done something wrong, but yeah, definitely Núñez was like, yeah, clear cut. The guy just had no intention. You could just see he had no intention. He didn't, the thing is, right, it's not even like he's thought about trying to take on the player and get closer to goal. He's actually took a shot still. It's like just outside the area, and it's just straight into the defender because the defender's literally right in front of him. Whereas the pass on to Salah would then lead Salah to, well, he's got an option. He can either then, go through and shoot himself, or he's probably going to have the chance to square it to, like Luke said, Carvalho for an easy tap in. So yeah, that definitely should have been a 2-0 on that counter attack, but unfortunately he was a bit selfish. No doubt something Klopp will pick up with him about, I would imagine. But again, like I say, up until that point, fantastic 0-0. I thought actually Milner did really well in keeping tabs on Foden for the game. I was also a massive fan. I'd not seen too much of this guy because I don't tend to watch necessarily a lot of Liverpool games, but Harvey Elliott was fantastic. Like he reminds me a little bit of Milner in the sense that he just didn't stop. He would chase down everything, and he didn't look uncomfortable in taking players on. He looks very comfortable in his role at Liverpool now. So exciting for his future, for definitely. And the thing is, they were missing players. Like they've managed to get that win with missing Matip, obviously a sort of more staple for their centre-back. As we said, Trent, although he hasn't been in form recently, their main right-back wasn't on the pitch either. There were talks, I think, that Nat Phillips was going to be in the centre-back and they were maybe going to play Gomez at right-back, but obviously they didn't set up with that in the end. So a massive win and a massive dent in Man City's start to their season because it has delivered them their first loss. So they were unbeaten until that game. Makes things a little bit more exciting for Tottenham as well, I suppose, now, because you're on level points.
And the game in hand that we've got is against Man City. So that game got called off due to the Queen's passing. So I'm not going to get excited. Spurs have a much worse case of the Arsenal thing we referenced earlier, where you can't get excited at all. It's Tottenham. It is. I think Keane called it the history of Tottenham. So you can't get excited. It's only 9-10 games in now. We're still 4 points off the league. We got to just focus on sort of what we've got in terms of the Champions League at the moment, and sort of just try and stay in domestic competitions.
But I mean, it's exciting as it currently stands, seeing that, you know, we've got Arsenal at the top of the league, Tottenham joint second. Let's do it that way around rather than the Man City joint second. So the two teams that people thought would be clear this year so far, and they're only 10 games in, but so far aren't sitting in technically second and first. Which I think is pretty exciting. Obviously, things are always going to be subject to change, but it certainly makes it more exciting. However, at the other end of the table, it's probably a little bit more predictable, other than Leicester being down there. So Forest, Wolves, Wolves,
West
Wolves.
Ham being involved as well. Those are teams you wouldn't have bet on being involved in that kind of a thing.
No, and they've sort of now getting themselves to 12th with being on 11 points has put them out of it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, people wouldn't have thought Villa were going to be there, Wolves were going to be there, but we could arguably have said that Southampton and Forest were going to be in trouble. Leicester being the big shot, conceding 24 goals so far this season, more than any other team in the Premier League. Now, don't get me wrong, one of them came from one game where there was a lot of goals conceded, but that is still pretty poor, and it looks like they are missing that goalkeeper that left. He's definitely not a good like-for-like replacement. We digress. We are done with this episode of the podcast. As we said, there is a live Q&A that takes place at 9 o'clock on Twitter, not Twitch. Okay. And that'll be over there. I unfortunately won't be taking part this evening, but that will be Luke and Mers will be answering your questions over there. So yeah, make sure you're following us. Get in touch on our Discord, or get in touch with us on Twitter. All the links on YouTube are down in the description, and it is just at FSB Creators on Twitter if you want to come and follow us over there. And also, while you're at it, go and join and subscribe to our own personal YouTube channels. We've got LAJS, Mersgoth, B-Rad. Go and find us. We're banging out content for you guys. So, go drop us a sub and all that good stuff. As always, thank you ever so much, Mers and LAJS, for coming on tonight's podcast episode.
No problem.
No worries.
And we will catch you guys for the next one next week as we get nearer and nearer to the World Cup. Have fun.
Indeed.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.